Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is the regularly scheduled March meeting of the Houston Land Bank. It is March 11th, 2021. It is 12:03 p.m., and I'll call the meeting to order. First item is roll call. Director Bailey. Looks like he will be late today, but he'll join in when he can. Director Cardoza Okendo.
Here.
Thank you. Director Collins. I see Director Collins.
Yes.
Director Deonda.
Here. I'm here.
Thank you. Director Galloway.
Here.
Thank you. Director Hall. Not present. Director Jackson. I see there.
Here.
Hello. Director Johnson Rose.
Present.
Director Ledette.
Present.
Director Mondragon.
Present.
Director Vasquez.
Here, present.
Director Vignot. Not here. Director Zeiss is present. Ex officio Director Stoneham, I don't believe is here today.
She's on vacation this week. She just called me to let me know she wouldn't be able to be here.
Thank you. Advisory board member, Director Ferran.
Present.
Thank you. Director Marquez.
Present.
Director Williams.
Present.
Thank you. And Director Zale, I believe, yes, is here as well.
Yeah, present.
Thank you. Good to see everybody. We do have a quorum. Moving forward, item number 2, public speakers. I don't believe we had any signed up. Is that correct? Okay.
Matt, in connection with that, I know that there was problems trying to log in. The information that was posted would allow people to still be able to log into the meeting.
The agenda had the correct Zoom link.
Okay.
The problem was in our invite. So in fact, even if they didn't register, they have access to this Zoom link.
Okay, I just needed to make sure that that was addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Good clarification.
Sell lots to adjacent landowners who met certain qualifications through a program that we developed. With the limited alternative land use program, we revamped the program and we tried to take out some of the issues that the board and other people may have had with the prior program. So with it being approved at the last meeting, this is going to be the first contract that's actually going to go through the program and be sold to one of the churches that was approved under the prior program, who still meets the qualifications that need to be met to actually purchase these lots. So let's see, he's actually already read the HCAT and the address and the purchase price into the record. But just for your knowledge, one of the lots is 9,900 square feet and the other one is 8,250 square feet. They are both located in the Sunnyside area, and the purchaser, Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church, has met all of the qualifications to purchase these lots through this program. This program and these purchases have been extensively reviewed at the program committee level, and just recently it was discussed at the last executive committee level. So does anyone have any additional questions on this purchase? And what this approval would be doing, it would be giving me authorization to actually negotiate the contract and go to the title company and open up title so that they can actually close and purchase these lots. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I really don't have a question. I have a comment, and I just must get this off of my chest. When we started acquiring these lots, we acquired these lots on the first refusal from the auction. Was the purpose of building and putting them back on the tax roll. That's the reason I always had a problem with churches getting our lots, because they are tax exempt. So this is not building up any revenue in the city. So I still really have a deep concern and a problem with this, but I just have to express it. I didn't. That was the reason is for revenue, and it wasn't for nonprofits to get our property. And that's all. I just want to put it on record. That's all.
No, ma'am, and I do understand it. I know that was one of the concerns that was addressed, well, that was supposed to be addressed from the last program. What we've tried to do is, given that these lots are gonna be very difficult to actually build housing on because close.
Yeah, baby. Oh, excuse me. You don't have to explain. I understand. Okay. You don't have. Yeah. I just wanted to put my comments on record. You, you know, in the explanation.
You know
It's
what,
all right.
Director
No.
Galloway, you understand, and I can guarantee that we only have, I think, 4.
I
that
hope we don't make no practice of this because I really hate to see us
We
just
agree.
continue to give him, non-profit exemptions for taxes, our land away instead of building. But that's all. We don't have to comment any further. We can just move on.
Okay, well, I can tell you this, my goal is to take what we do make and buy some property that we can put some houses on. So that I can guarantee you.
Okay, honey.
Any better, but no, thank you for voicing your concern.
Hey, Doris, it's Victor. I do have another follow-up question, somewhat playing to what Director Galloway just mentioned. Are there any differences in the qualifications for an individual purchase of land versus an organization's purchase of land, such as a church or nonprofit or even a business?
Yeah, so right now, we're not allowing any individual purchases of land. So with the previous program, individuals could purchase it and churches could purchase it. But with the revamped program, what we did was we went back and we actually took the people that were eligible to get the lots that weren't able to close on them at that time. And there were only a handful that actually fit that criteria. And in this instance, they ended up being churches. We've actually, through the prior program, we've sold quite a bit to individuals and churches, but in this program, it's only those 4 that meet the criteria.
More follow-up question, or like I said, this is more of a comment. Have we gone down the road of entertaining or partnering with another nonprofit that is more involved in kind of the lending process to perhaps, if there's a neighboring individual that lives next door, is very interested in the property, could use the property, but at that time that we approached them, the timing of it wasn't quite right. Perhaps they were between jobs, or perhaps something had happened in their credit history where their debt to income ratio was not viewed favorably upon by lenders. I may be grasping at straws here, but I'm just curious if there's a potential partnership there with another nonprofit that works in that world, so we can collaborate and, to Director Galloway's point, kind of swing it more towards the people and not towards institutions, while they may be nonprofits or churches at that.
Yeah, no, and I understand your concern. And what we're doing right now is, as we go through the inventory, we're putting up for sale what's actually available, but the ones that aren't available for sale or that are not actually buildable on, those we may have to actually devise a program to figure out how we want to dispose of them. And what you're saying with the individuals that may be able to purchase them, they would probably fall under that category. So it's definitely something that we would look at later down the line. Right now, we're just trying to put up for sale the ones that are available.
Or even my favorite PR move, the old community garden, is something that I always like to advocate for as well. But
Oh
awesome.
yeah, we have some of those as well, trust me. So we are not opposed to community gardens as well. So trust me, it's something that we're working on as we go through the inventory. There may be alternative uses for quite a few of our properties actually, that we're trying to, figure out.
Excellent, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have any questions regarding the purchase of those 2 lots?
I don't see any. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Are you taking both lots together, or are you taking them separately, Matt?
I would like to take both lots together, but if we need to separate them, we can.
They're both going to be on one contract, Gracie.
Okay.
Being as they're together, I'll make the motion to approve both lots being sold.
Thank you, Director Mondragon. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Cardozo-Oquendo. Any further questions or comments? I do want to make a comment that this is a very limited scope. of lots that we intend to use this program for. This is one way we can turn these lots that aren't really buildable into cash, so we can acquire lots that are buildable in the future. So that's the intent of this program. It is not to distribute land to non-housing uses. So, are there any other comments or questions about the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, item E, consideration and possible action to approve agreements for real estate marketing and brokerage services to be provided through December 31st, 2022. We have four firms up for consideration. First is Exit Realty 360. The second is TAS Realty Group. The third is Womack Development and Investment Realtors. And the fourth is Walsall Properties. And I believe Jen Allison has a brief on this for us.
Yes, I do. Good afternoon, everyone. As you'll see, we had 7 submittals. Those were from Leak Properties, Dr. Juan Crawford, Womack Development and Investment Realtors, Gerald Womack, CJM, Yesenia Guerrera, Texas Home, which was Vachel Starks Winfrey, Real Inc. broker was Jason Hyman, TAS Realty Group was Letitia Grant, and Exit 360 Realty was Andrea Cooksey. Of those 7 submittals, we selected 4, 2 of which were our current brokers are TAS Realty Group, Letitia Grant, Exit 360 Realty, which is Andrea Cooksey. The other 2 that were selected were Womack Development, Gerald Womack, and Texas Home, Vachel Starks Winfrey. Our 6 key components in scoring matrix were the ability to provide a full range of services, their creativity and innovation in approaches to marketing, affordability, familiarity with affordable housing, diversity on their team, experience in working in our areas, and customer service and accessibility. The selection committee consisted of 4 members. Those 4 members were Director Johnson Rose, Darren Blakemore from Houston Community Land Trust, Gonzalo in our office, and myself. Any questions?
And Jen, maybe it's locked into the contract agreement that we have that follows up in the board book, but just clarify how we use these realtors. It's primarily for the new home development program. So
these brokers, their contracts would go until December of 2022. They are instrumental in our marketing of new home development program, and we are also going to try to loop them in our traditional program as well in ways that we can use them. Again, they are instrumental in getting the word out. They host open houses and different types of events, listing on the MLS and so forth.
I apologize if this was already addressed, but are they going to be making the same traditional commission percentage as they would on a traditional individual purchase, 3%?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that pretty standard in land bank history?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I assume so. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Courtney Rose. I would like to make the motion for approval.
Okay. Thank you, Director Johnson Rose. Is there a second?
Second, Tony Jackson.
Thank you, Director Jackson. And thank you to the selection committee as well for all the work on this. This is, I know going through these small business proposals is diligent, and I appreciate the effort on that. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving the real estate marketing and brokerage services through December 31st, 2021 or 2022 for Exit Realty 360, TAS Realty Group, Womack Development and Investment Realtors, and Walsall Properties. All those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
Director Collins abstains. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, item F, Consideration and possible action to approve the proposed HLB fiscal year 2022 draft budget for submittals to the City of Houston. I believe Gonzalo has a presentation on this for us.
Yes, thank you, Matt. I'm sharing my screen now. Let me see. All righty, can you guys see my screen now? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So yes, again, good afternoon, board members and staff. As Matt mentioned, this item is to approve the preliminary fiscal year 22 proposed budget and to send off to the city controller's office. As mentioned before, these numbers are not set in stone. They are not final. These will change come May and then ultimately June when we get the final board vote for the proposed fiscal year 22 budget. I just wanted to give a quick rundown regarding a high-level overview of the numbers that we're going to be sending out to the city. So we'll start off here. What you're seeing here basically is the fiscal year 21 annualized numbers through February 28. Our fiscal year 21 approved budget, which came before the board last June. And then obviously this is the column D here, which is the fiscal year 22 proposed budget. We'll start off with the HLB traditional program proceeds. We are budgeting a reduction in fiscal year 22 in the interim compared to the prior year as a result, as Darius mentioned. Right now we're scrubbing through our lots to see what lots are available for sale. We anticipate having less lots available for sale due to either infrastructure issues or there may be some brush and debris where they're not ready to be built on or sold. Coming down to the A&D disposition proceeds, we're not budgeting anything to be acquired under the A&D program, but what you're seeing here on this budget line item is basically the disposition of 35 NHCP homes under the new home development program. On the operational reimbursement, we're keeping that number flat versus the prior year that was approved. We're still waiting to hear back from the City of Houston HCDD department to see if we can get some sort of agreement where there's multi-year funding as opposed to doing this on an annual basis. The administrative fee, that's pretty straightforward. That's a flat $37.50 that we charge for every NHCP home that we sell. And then coming down here, other outside sources, basically going to be any other new grants or donations, whether they may be monetary from any philanthropic foundation, or it could be also a tangible asset with the donation of land, etc. That brings our total proposed revenues to $3,973,269 for the fiscal year 22. Moving on down to the expenditure line items. First one here is obviously salary and fringe. Just let me make some clarification here. This looks like a large bump year over year, but that's not the case. What it is currently in our current operation or current fiscal year, our salary and fringe is being reimbursed from the operation and the acquisition and development agreement. What's happening is now that we've fully expended the acquisition and development agreement fund with our current contracts that we're currently under, as you're well aware, we've acquired the yellow cab and we're under contract with the ILA side, et cetera. We'll be reimbursed for our salary and fringe 100% out of the operations agreement. So that's really that's what makes it look like if there's a bump, but it's not the case. It's basically flat year over year. Moving on down to legal fees, we're using the current run rate that we're seeing in our current fiscal year. Professional services, carrying those budgeted items over to the new fiscal year as well. The lot maintenance, there will be a decrease compared to what was approved in fiscal year 21. As Ann mentioned, and as Darius has mentioned also in quite several board meetings, and you've seen as you may take in vote on some of the dispositions that we've had under our traditional program, this number you would see a lot more savings as a result of all of those dispositions we're having on the traditional program and on the NHCP program. But you got to keep in mind, as we're acquiring these larger tracts, like the yellow cab and the ILA soon to come, that's a lot more square footage that need to be maintained on. And that's basically why you don't see much more of a savings under the lot maintenance. There's just much more land to maintain, whether it's mowing, tires, debris, etc. So moving down, the software and subscriptions. It's basically going to be our property and inventory management system. Other administrative costs going to be insurance, property insurance, general liability. In the interim, we're putting a $500,000 bucket towards the HLB traditional acquisition. As Reese said, our intent is acquire land, sell it off, and put it back on the tax roll. That's what this bucket here is for. The disposition cost, this is basically any kind of closing costs with respect to our traditional proceeds to our traditional lots that we sell off, which may be closing costs, legal fees, etc. This NHDB disposition cost, this is pretty straightforward. This is basically the $20,000 per house that we sell under the New Home and Development Program. And as mentioned, on the revenue side, same thing for the expense side. I'm not budgeting, or we're not budgeting anything currently under the A&D acquisition side since we fully expended those funds. With that being said, we have a total expenditures of $3,872,633, bringing us to an excess or an increase to fund balance of $100,636 for the proposed fiscal year 22 budget. Any comments or questions?
Thank you, Gonzalo. So a lot of these items, I know there's kind of a lot to digest there, but basically Gonzalo and took the last year's budget and last year's actuals and matched them up to see what kind of the fiscal year for us would look like, putting in some unknowns and some knowns that we thought we might have for activity or the program next year. I think this is a good start, good skeleton for our budget discussions going forward. Something we can submit to the city that's reasonable and describes our organization.
Yes, and sorry, Juan. I didn't mean to, Director Cardoza. We do have Anderson Stout, I believe, from the city that's also on the line. And in the next 3 months, as much as we'll be working in committees, we'll be working with HCDD on any of the assumptions in this budget. As you know, many of the line items really are driven from the amount of activity at HCDD under the New Home Development Program. So we certainly will be coming back with additional information and numbers in the future. So Director Cardoza or Kendo, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I just had a simple question. What does I see here A&D acquisitions, what does A&D stand for?
Acquisition and development. That's one of our agreements that we have with the HCDD department, or the City of Houston HCD department.
Gotcha.
So in how the sausage is funded, we have 2 revenue sources for covering our base operations and then very specialized program activity. So it's our shorthand, and sorry about that. We should have explained that.
All good. No, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Oh.
Yes, I have one. What are the fringes the employees have? Do all of them have the same fringes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what are them?
Insurance and retirement funds basically are most of what make that up.
Yep.
Okay. Insurance, medical, and life, and medical benefits?
Yes.
Medical benefits, dental, vision, and retirement. I don't know that we have life.
We don't have life.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Don't have what?
Life insurance. We don't take life insurance out of our employees.
Oh, really? When the city, I mean, they have it. Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure.
But Director Galloway, are you suggesting?
I know. Are you advocating? Are you advocating?
Well, I once was a union rep, and I do support all fringe benefit for employees.
Yeah, and actually, over the last 2 years, we've built out the fringe package to make sure that it is an attractive package and that is commensurate with city quality standards. I would say that we don't have every last opportunity just because of our scale, and also we're still starting up. But if this would be a good topic for whether it's the executive committee or procurement committee. We've kind of done a lot of work to do a complete review of that. Would be perfectly appropriate at this time in the organization's history.
Yeah, it would. It's a good thought. Thank you, Director Galloway.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Call for approval of the budget.
Thank you, Director Galloway. Is there a second?
Second, Courtney Rose.
Thank you, Director Johnson Rose. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the fiscal year 2020 proposed budget, draft budget for submittal to the City of Houston, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Appreciate the work. Item 9, executive session, we do not need. Item 10, we do not need. Item 11, board member comments. Any board member comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Victor, sorry.
Just want to point out one quick thing that you and I discussed around PEX piping. I think, obviously with the freeze that happened and all the pipes burst all around town and the demand for plumbers and the subsequent rise in cost for plumbing supplies, I think it's important that going forward, we put an emphasis on ensuring when we can that our future homes have up-to-date plumbing. And when I mean up-to-date, I mean PEX, because the last thing I would want is for a low-income family to move into one of our houses, be very excited, make that big life-changing step into single-family home lifestyle, and then boom, be hit with a $5,000-$10,000 plumbing bill fresh out the gates just because the grid froze over or whatever happened, and we didn't properly set them up for success going forward. So it's just something that I think is important for us to look at and think about going forward. Just as we made a similar adjustment when the price of lumber went up, I think a similar type of conversation needs to happen around plumbing materials for our future home buyers. That's all.
Director Mondragon, it's Jennifer. Just a little bit of that. Before we had the freeze, we did send out emails to everyone explaining what they needed to do for their homes. And I got a great deal of responses back from those home buyers or owners that they were rushing out to try to get, at least go to the dollar store and buy towels or something like that. So we did do a little bit of due diligence. This was the first time that this has happened. So we were like, what can we do? What can we do to help them? But everybody was fine. Like every single person. So yeah, exactly.
From a personal point, one of my properties, we wrapped the lines, but we had some of the plumbing where it was kind of U-shaped.
Right.
Or we couldn't empty it out. So that froze, broke up, and that actually happened 5 or 6 houses all down that block.
Wow.
So despite me personally going to wrap those pipes and draining it myself. So I don't know, just a bigger conversation. I don't want to put additional strain or stress on our future buyers that we're here to serve and lift up and help thrive in our city. But I'm very glad to hear that we're proactive in reaching out. That's certainly great news. And thank you for that, Jen. And that's all.
Yeah, that is good to hear, Jen. Thank you. And Director Mondragon, that is a conversation we should continue to have and continue to upgrade and improve our building requirements for our builders. Being mindful of costs to our homeowners, but I think PEX is a very a good fix. So we can definitely discuss that in the committee. Any other board member comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, and great job, Mr. Chairman, getting us out early. This is a first in about a year.
We're getting there. Moving quickly.
Good job.
Second.
Thank you, Director Johnson Rose. I hear a second from Director Galloway.
Yes.
Any comments on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, all those in favor, vote aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 12:51 p.m. Thank you,
Bye-bye,
everyone.
everybody. Thank you.
You all, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.